Now for these questions, we're subtracting fractions with different denominators. But to subtract fractions, we need the denominators to be the same. So we need to use what we know about equivalent fractions to help us. First, we have 3/4 minus 3/8. Now if we look at our denominators, 8 is in the 4 times table, so we can find a fraction equivalent to 3/4, which has a denominator of 8. To find equivalent fractions, we use multiplication. 4 times 2 is 8, and when we're finding equivalent fractions, what we do to the denominator, we need to do to the numerator as well, and 3 times 2 is 6. So, now that we know that 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8, we can rewrite our question. Instead of writing 3/4, we can write 6/8 minus 3/8, because we've seen that 3/4 is equivalent, so has the same value as 6/8. So now our denominators are the same, so we keep the denominator the same in our answer, and 6 minus 3 is 3, so our answer is 3/8. Now we have 4/5, and we need to subtract 3/20. Again, we've got fractions with different denominators. But 20 is in the 5 times table, so we can find a fraction equivalent to 4/5, which has a denominator of 20. 5 times 4 is 20, and what we do to the denominator, we do to the numerator as well. 4 times 4 is 16, so we know that 4/5 is equivalent or has the same value as 16/20. So, instead of 4/5 minus 3/20, we can rewrite our question as 16/20 minus 3/20. So now our denominators are the same, so we keep the denominator the same in our answer, and 16 minus 3 is 13, so our answer is 13/20. Now we have 11/12 minus 1/4. Again, we've got fractions with different denominators. But 12 is in the 4 times table, so we can find a fraction equivalent to 1/4, which has a denominator of 12. So this time, it's the number we're subtracting that we need to find an equivalent fraction for. That's because it's always easier to make the denominator larger, so we need to look at our largest fraction and find an equivalent fraction for our other fraction. Now, 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 3 is 3, so we can rewrite our question. This time, we're keeping the 11/12 the same, but instead of subtracting 1/4, we're subtracting 3/12, because we've seen that that's equivalent to 1/4. Now our denominators are the same, so they stay the same in the answer, and 11 minus 3 is 8, so our answer is 8/12. And we can show fraction bars to see what we were doing here. So in this first question, we started with 3/4, but we needed to subtract 3/8. So we changed those 3/4 into 6/8, and you can see that that's equivalent because we have the same amount of the fraction bar shaded in 3/4 and now in 6/8. But now we can take 1, 2, 3 of those eighths away to leave us with the 3/8 that we have in our answer. Then for this question, we started with 4/5, but because we wanted to subtract 20ths, we changed those 4/5 into 16/20, so that we could take away 3/20 to leave us with the 13/20 that we have in blue on our fraction bar, and that's our answer. Then we started with 11/12. We needed to take away 1/4, but 1/4 is the same as 3/12. You can see if we shade the fraction bar, 1/4 is yellow, and that's the same as 3/12. So what we were left with is the 8/12 that we have left in blue.